Hello everyone, it's Hannah here again, and it's our Q&A Monday. So today, as mentioned earlier on, today's topic is about claiming expenses if you're an employee. The reason why is, as I work with quite a lot of medical professionals, at the beginning they were like junior doctors or when they are in training and they were employed. But then what I've find out, actually we help quite a lot with was claiming expenses for these type of clients. So basically there are lots of questions around it as well, like what kind of expenses you can claim or what kind of expenses you cannot. So I sort of gathering all the questions, and especially there are something very specific, like what are the timeline and what are the process, or if that's beneficial for having an accountant to do that, or just do it yourself. So today we're gathering all the questions. So before we start, there are a couple of announcements. As you know, last week it's like quite a lot of changes. It's a end of the tax year, so there are lots of changes at the moment. Like the budget, like the spring budget has just came up last week. We had a little summary. So last week we talked about the tax, like dividends, taking salary or dividends, and we talk about every year, like each person will entitle 5,000 tax-free dividends, but then from 2018 it's gonna be decreased to 2,000. So in terms of if that's beneficial for you to run a limited company or sole trader, some people say perhaps it's not worth anymore. But on the other side, as a sole trader, currently you are paying Class 4 national insurance. So it used to be that 9% that you're paying on top of your tax. But then, from the same time when the dividends tax-free dividend threshold decrease, then the national insurance will increase as well. Currently, you are paying 9%. Then from 2018 or next 2 years, it's going to be increased to 10% or 11%. So in terms of whether it's beneficial or not to run the limited company, it's probably going to be a quite different story in comparison to a few years ago when before the dividend rule changed. So for this, please stay tuned. We'll definitely cover a session on this, especially when the time comes closer. And then when we are more clear about what are the changes in 2018 and what are other changes, so we can just have some relevant strategies. Okay, so back to this topic, claiming expenses. Usually what you definitely can claim, today we're mainly focused on the medical professionals. But then, of course, there will be some other, depends on profession. There will be some profession that like a situation will be different. And also when it comes to claiming expenses, some of them already, your employer already reimbursed. So you get the money anyway. So we don't include this. But we are focusing on the ones your employer didn't reimburse you. But then actually, this can be tax-free. This can be something that you can really use it to claim some money back. In particular, today we're talking about, we just focus on the medical professionals. So what you can definitely claim, of course, like you guys have all the membership, all the subscriptions, indemnity, like BMA, GMC, your professional body, all these things you can claim. So if you have all the records, these are the things that it's definitely there. HMRC have the list of professional bodies, like you can claim as a tax-free employment expense. So these already included. That's for sure. In terms of some people ask in terms of timeline. Basically, you can backdate for last 4 years. So currently, it's actually last month of 16-17. But then back 4 years, 13-14, you can still claim 13-14 if you if the 16-17 is not yet finished. So really make sure you send in the stuff on time. Okay, but then after April, it will be different. You probably miss out the very beginning, like it will be different. So if you are thinking about that, make sure you send in the claim in time, just before the tax year finished, so you don't miss out the very beginning. Okay. For these things, they are for sure, but there are other things like raise a lot of questions. Things like, for instance, for the medical courses or the exams, it's actually quite interesting area. It used to be something you cannot claim, but nowadays more and more clients they have a successful claim on the courses or trainings. In particular, you have to prove that is some sort of exam or course that is necessary for your employment. Something perhaps if you don't pass that exam, you are not going to progress, or if that's something sort of integral part of your training, so you have to take it. Like a lot of GP clients, they have the qualification exam. It's part of their training. It's like it's in their employment contracts, or it's just like by nature. If they don't pass it, they cannot progress. So this kind of thing, at the moment, people successfully claim that. That's for sure. But something when you do it, it's just in terms of how you prepare for it. Something you need to really look into, really pay attention to is how you submit a claim, like what document you need. For normal straightaway expenses like your membership, you can just prove like have a receipt that you pay for it. But then for these professional courses, training, you need to have something that's to support it. Like in most of cases for GPs, they have a letter from the supervisor saying these exams or training courses are necessary for the employment, and they signed. So that's how they get a successful claim. So if you are looking to do it yourself, or even you want an accountant to do it, or thanks for the like, even you want an advisor to do it. So really have these documents in place. It's just a lot of time people ask, but then we've been explained again and again. I think it's important that all this record keeping, we all have them in order. Okay, so that's a training course. The other sort of question is travel or subsistence or thank you. Well, travel and subsistence is actually a very interesting topic. Normally, for instance, if you're a doctor, if you travel from home to work, that's your normal commute. So you can't just claim the travel card or your mileage from home to work, because that's more like personal. If you work for a certain hospital, that's a normal workplace, like your home to normal workplace. That's not. But then, say for instance, you are going for home visits, or you are traveling between hospitals just temporarily. Then this part, like if you pay for a taxi, if you drive your own car, or if you pay for the public transport between these journeys, these are the parts that you can claim. So just be aware, like when it touches the home, you can't really claim this. Although if you're a locum doctor, that can be a different story. But if you're employee, like from home to normal commute, that's not. Okay, that's also like apply for other like general profession. So be aware of that. In terms of subsistence, normally these are the meals, like the food or the accommodation. If you are required to stay overnight somewhere, like if you are overnight on call and you have to stay, say you live in London, you have to go stay somewhere outside London or outside your home. So like accommodation. Oh, sorry, that was a bit cut off. Okay, so so if you're staying overnight, that's a subsistence you can claim. Okay, and the other question is actually, by the way, if you do have any questions, like in the meantime, during the session, just be free to comment below. Okay, the other question actually very interesting is that people ask, can I claim if I buy the suit or buy the like smart clothes for work, can I claim this? So, well, the answer, would be guess what? It's you for normal like work wear or like smart wear. Because these are like normal clothes, you will probably wear it when you're at home or when you're like in casual occasion. So it's just it's the on the basis that the nature of the dual nature, like you probably wear it for work as well as for your personal life. So you can't claim this normal workwear. But if that's new uniform, or if that's something that with a particular logo or some special function, especially for medical doctors, like uniform, these things, yeah, like the uniform laundry, you can claim these expenses. So that's in terms of a clothing workwear, you have to be careful about it. Like a normal suit, if you're like a dry clothes your suit, then that's just a personal. Okay, so that's for workwear. And other things like people ask health insurance. In most of cases, that's like personal health insurance. If your employer is paying for that, that's great. But then you might find out in the end there will be the benefit in kind. There's a tax need to pay in regarding like health insurance, this kind of benefits. So that's not tax-free benefits. Okay. Some people also ask like mobile phone. Well, by rule, like general rule, like you are entitled to claim one mobile phone, but only one. So in particular, like a lot of employees, perhaps you contact. Sometimes you will use your mobile phone to contact for your employer or some work-related stuff. So one mobile phone is allowed. Okay, so one mobile phone, but then extra is not. Other things like people perhaps curious about training, because earlier on we talked about like when it comes to training or the courses or the exams, this kind of thing. Normally, you have to, when you prove you paid for these exams, then you have to also prove that these are necessary for your profession. These are something you have to put them together for the claim. But then for the training, actually, sometimes it can be a very interesting area as well. In terms of training, even for general businesses or stuff like. For the training, in order for you to qualify to do something, that's usually not something you can claim. Say your degree. If everyone can claim any sort of training that's related to your profession, then everyone will claim their school fee, like university fee. That's a lot. So these are not allowed. But if that's something when you are doing the job whilst you are training, or if that's something like continuous, like sort of CPD, like continuous education, then these are allowed. So just something outside the medical profession, like say if someone wants to do Reiki, they have probably go somewhere to do that training course to get qualified in order to do that Reiki. So that part is not something you can claim. But then afterwards, if they do actual thing like keep them up to date, keep their skills, like sharpen their skills, then these are allowed. So for training, it's actually a very interesting area. The other interesting area is actually I thought about a story that was from a case I handled probably quite a while ago. That guy, actually that's again outside medicine, but then he was a sales director for the company. Quite often, for people in sales, they will probably treat their clients or treat their prospects. They will quite often have a dinner, have meal, have drink when talking about the business. That's how they like prospecting the clients and go out to like really make the deal. So for him, initially, actually that was a very interesting case as well. Initially, he submitted this claim, then the employer sort of reimbursed him, but then he's been caught by HMRC saying, yeah, these are taxable benefits, and he has to pay tax. But then after we really review the employment contract, actually in the contract it already says that he's entitled to reimburse all these expenses, like the stuff he's prospecting the clients, and he's talking about business over the meal, over the drink, and in order to get a deal, it's already said in the contract these are the necessary things. And normally he works. He doesn't really sit in one office to work because he's in sales. He's always go out somewhere or work from home, out and about. So, well, in the end, HMRC actually accepted these are tax-free. So it really depends on the profession, depends on what you do, and the most important thing is you have the paperwork, you have the documents that is really proof these are necessary. So it's actually a very interesting case that I handled before, but it really, for record keeping, that's very important. Okay. So basically, these are the general questions like people ask. Actually, it's very good you guys do ask questions. But if you have any more questions related to a topic or anything about the tax bill or the budget, so just be free to ask. So I can help you more. Okay. So that was what you can claim or what you cannot claim, and people raise a lot of questions. But in terms of people also ask about how you can claim or what information you need, or if that's beneficial to ask the accountant to do it, or you just do it yourself. So actually here, in terms of how you can claim, there's actually some restrictions. People also ask about this as well. If that's under £2,500, the total value of the claim, then you can either claim by writing. If you're already filling a self-assessment, that's great. You fill in self-assessment, that's actually, you get the refund quicker. But also you can claim it by phone, but only if you claimed it successfully before and for the same type of expenses. So you claim, first you claim the GMC, BMA, all these expenses. And the second year, you don't have to send in a letter. You probably just pick up the phone and call them, say, I paid for this amount this year, and then HMRC will pick up and then change your tax code. So that's how it's done. That's probably the quicker way. The slowest way, of course, by letter so far, because it takes time to post out, and for HMRC office they have to take time to scan and process and everything. That can be quite slow. But if you're already filling self-assessment, that's great because online, and it takes about 2 weeks to process. That's any refund you entitle, you get it quicker. But if the claim amount is quite high, more than 2,500, then you will need to fill in a self-assessment. So that's probably the better way. Perhaps you will need to register as well, and perhaps when you are on that self-assessment system, then every year probably you have to fill in the same form. But then if you are looking to get quite a lot of money back, you probably need to fill in, it's better for you to just fill in a self-assessment, get the money quicker, and then that process much quicker than you sending by letter. Okay. In terms of how the claim is processed, either you can just get a check from the government when they approve it, or they will change your tax code. So they can sort of give you a bit more take-home pay next tax year. So in a way that you have some tax rebates coming in. So these are the two ways. In terms of people asking if that's worthwhile to pay for the accountant or pay for someone to do it for you, or you just do it yourself, it's actually, whichever you feel comfortable with. If you're generally you're comfortable with preparing all the documents and you're confident that you have all the information in place, communicate with them, and filling all the forms, and then yeah, and you think you can do it fairly quickly, then yeah, go ahead and give it a try. But I would say the benefit you use someone to do it. It just they like for the accountant for us, we can really review what you submit, like really help you to claim, maximize it. And perhaps, as I said, we have the list of probably more things than you expected you can claim, like the travel, like a mobile phone, like all these kind of things. Perhaps according to your situation, perhaps we can really look into what else, in addition to the things you can think of, what else you can claim successfully. Of course, most of the advisor in this situation, they will charge the percentage of the successful claims. So for some, especially if you are busy, if you just just focus on, you just have some advisor take care of all this hassle, all this paperwork, and then you focus on what you're good at. You focus on your work. That's probably more beneficial because your main work is what really makes money. Perhaps for the things like paperwork, perhaps just have someone to take care of it for you. So that's how I see it. If something I think is beneficial for me to just delegate or just outsource, then I can allocate more of my time to do what I'm supposed to do, what I'm good at, what really makes money. Then yeah, go for it. So it's really up to you, really whichever you feel comfortable with. Okay, so these are the common questions in terms of expenses claim if you're an employee. Of course, in I think last session we mentioned about our exclusive Facebook group. It's called Tax Deductible Lifestyle Tribe. So that's actually exclusive for people who has interest in taking care of the tax bill, or get more education on the tax, or even want to really release the fear about paying tax, or have a support. So that's actually the sort of support group that you can get into and have all the resources. Of course, I actually have a written down version of the case study of the expense claim, like specific for a medical professional. So that will be available in the group later this week. So the file will be in the group. So if you want to get a copy of that, if you are on Facebook, do request to join the group so you can get a copy. Or if you're not on Facebook or anything, just send me a personal message or let me know your email so I can send a copy to you. But of course, if you do have any questions, be free to comment or be free to share, so I can see what else I can help you, what kind of topics I will talk about to benefit you the most. So that's all for the expense claims. Of course, it doesn't stop here. Any more questions, be free to comment or get in touch with me, or any suggestions how we can get this Q&A better, and be free to get in touch. So, okay, I hope you find this session useful, and I hope you had a wonderful day. So we just stop here, and any questions, please be free to get in touch. And then I shall see you very soon, either in the Facebook group or in our next Q&A. Okay, thanks. Bye now.